Good morning, Pulaski Community School District. Pam Engel, Tom Kraus, coming from the district office, giving you a welcome to the 2017-2018 school year. Pam, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and I hope everyone out there in our little land of presentations is doing great as well. We are so happy to be here and to lead into the 2017-2018 school year.
With that being said, we know that why do we do what we do? It's right here. If you take a look at the smiling faces on these kids, it's great to have people in our buildings getting a great kickoff to the school year. We saw a lot of great things, whether it's hashtag Raider Strong or that personal contact, going into different rooms and seeing people together. That's what it's about.
Educator effectiveness is the system that our school district uses and all school districts throughout the state to supervise and evaluate teachers. Most of you are well aware of this system. It's been in effect since 2014. Later in this presentation, it is laid out what happens at each level or a step of the educator effectiveness process. It's just a reminder for most of you, but it does give you an idea of how many observations and what types of observations you have throughout the year. The best thing is that this is about learning and this is about teaching and what is effective for our kids.
Awesome. Thanks, Pam. A couple other things. This presentation is not to rehash the different forms and PowerPoints that'll be coming along with this, but instead it's also to give some updates. So one of the things that we've been getting a lot of feedback or questions about is what is coming from the state. Currently, we're taking a look at life licenses. What does that mean? We don't know. We don't know a timeline on that. Also, people that are up for licensure, there's been some questions out there about educator effectiveness. Can that be hooked as part of my licensing? To let you know that there is a form that is hidden behind everybody's systems that we will open up once we get feedback from DPI. But I think what they're waiting for is some direction from the state after the state budget passes. So if the budget passes and everything goes as is, there will probably be multiple different ways to have licensure. One way would be for that educator effectiveness to sign off to get your license. Other things is life licenses. What is the process? We don't know at this time. So with that being said, our advice is to hold tight and more information will be coming from the state, and then we'll be able to articulate that and send out messaging of where are you at and what are your options from there. So please just hold tight on that.
My role in the educator effectiveness process is that I am an educator effectiveness support professional, which is just a fancy way of saying that I'm one of the people that will be coming into most people's classrooms for either informal or formal observations. I look at my role as, again, looking at teaching and learning. And when students ask me when I walk into a classroom, what is she doing here? Which they sometimes do. That is exactly what I tell them. I'm there to see all the great things that are happening in classrooms. And I see a lot of great things. I am a very lucky person because I get to be in all the levels of classrooms we have in this school district. And there are great things happening. I'm there to be an encourager. And I'm there to be a helper and make sure that if you have questions, you ask me.
Awesome. It's always great to see Pam around in the buildings. Also, something new this year is with our admin are going to be piloting a rapid cycle feedback model. And what this is people that are on the continuing teacher or continuing specialist 2, this will be an option. Administrators are going to try it with at least one person this year that again are on the continuing teacher or continuing specialist 2. With that being said, if you take a look at observations and specifically the formal observations, this would be a school of 30 teachers. There would be roughly 27,000 lessons a year within that school. Wow, that's just crazy. With that, if you take a look at each one of these boxes here represents a teacher. And basically a scoring rubric that would show, effective and stuff like that. If we come in during one day for a formal observation, what does that look like out of the 900 lessons that you're teaching in a year? Instead, how can we give pertinent feedback in an ongoing conversation about, okay, what can we focus on? What do we want to take a look at? There will be some forms. Instead of doing that formal observation, it'll be that pre-meeting or pre-conference and talking about, hey, this is what I'd like to focus on. I want to take a look at how does my assessment, how does my formative assessment affect learning within my classroom? Throughout that year, you and your administrator can then focus on that and take a look at how can we get better at that craft. Again, this is new, and we're taking a look at that to get feedback of, is this a system that we'd like to transition to within the educator effectiveness system, so it's less of an event and more of just continually doing what we do. Very similar to the PLC process that we're embarking on. We want to continually be getting better at our craft each and every day. So again, that is something that is new. All right, the day, September 29th, 2017. We've had professional development days with educator effectiveness in the past, and we've heard loud and clear about the valuable feedback. Last year, we also brought a professional development committee together, and we talked about what do we want professional development to be. And a lot of the things that we heard was about choice and voice and the freedom and the flexibility to do what you need to do. With educator effectiveness, there is the same process that we've had in the past. You'll have your SLO, you'll have your PPG, and then you'll also have your reflection on your 6 standards. That is pretty standard for what we're going to be doing this year. Also this year, as you look at bullet number 2, each person will have 2 hours of professional development on site, and you can see the schedules with the email and the Google Doc that was sent out with this, whether you're a 612 or a K5 professional, and that will let you know about different meetings, whether they revolve around reading, PLCs that we'll put on from the district. The other hours of that professional development day are going to be flexible for you. When, where, some things to think about would be, teams. What type of teams need to get together? We're working on an SLO together. Hey, let's all meet and we're going to go over this data. So what data do you need? And then the PLC process, where are you at within the PLC process? If you're in the 612 realm, you might be in a different spot than the K5, but we're all going through that together. We might just be in different spots. Questions that might arise might be, do you have any questions, Pam, on this that you brought up before?
Well, just where do we meet? Do we meet in our classrooms? Do we meet somewhere else? Where is it most efficient and effective for us to work together so that we can get our team responsibilities accomplished?
And Pam, I'd say that wherever you need to meet would be the answer. Is if it works best to meet at Starbucks, if you're going to meet at somebody's house, if you're going to meet in a room within your school, whatever that might be, you decide. We all work different, just like our kids work different. So you figure out what does that mean. The work needs to be done, and the work's going to get done. We're all professionals here. So you have a lot of flexibility during that 29th about where and when you meet for that. The only requirement is that you're here for that 2 hours of professional development on site. Again, whether that's that reading, that PLC, other things with the specialists. But again, you can take a look at that document that was sent out with this video.
So the most important thing, I guess, is then that we work as a team and we collaborate and we get our tasks accomplished.
Awesome. All for the sake of learning and sake of kids. So that's great. As we go through this is educator effectiveness should not just be a product, but it should also be a process. So as we take a look at this, they've evolved over the years, and it's really a process of continual learning. And as we go through this, you should continue to get better at your craft, whatever that might be. The effectiveness timeline and events here are very similar to the past. And also the observations and the meetings are similar to the past, with the one change of the rapid cycle feedback process if you are a CT2. Again, your administrators will have more feedback on that, and they may ask if you'd like to help to pilot that process. The directions for that time that's flexible: complete your SLO, complete your self-assessment. Again, you don't have to write a novel. You just have to give a fair assessment of where you think you're at within each one of those 6 standards. And then also your professional practice goal. One of the things that we get questions on with the PPG is, okay, how does that hook with student learning? really that PPG is what will you do and how will you grow. So make sure that you're at the center of whatever that goal is. If that means that you want to hook it to the PLC process and learn more about the PLC process so you can work more efficiently with teams or give feedback to your students, whatever that might be, that your learning would be part of that PLC process to then be able to infuse what you learn there into being more efficient or picking up different tools of the trade as you go forward. After you have your professional goal setting plan, make sure to submit that form, and that will go to your administrator for those next steps within the educator effectiveness process. If you have any other questions, this year's epics are the same as last year, so please let them know. Also during the 29th, administrators will be in their buildings or they'll let you know where they're going to be at. But please look through the other documents that are part of this. We're trying to do a little bit of flipped learning here to give you stuff so it can free you up to do what you need to do on the 29th. So we really appreciate this, and Pam and I want to send you off with a little fun here. So let's see what we got.
I can see.
All right. Hey, make it Raider Strong Day. Go Pulaski!
Pulaski is Raider Strong!